Action.
Good day. My name is Reverend David Rose. I'm the Methodist minister at Carltonville Methodist Church, and I am here today to share a little bit about Thomas Moeketsi as I knew him. He was the father of one of our members in this church, and he was a difficult man. A man who knew his own mind and would not allow anybody else to tell him what he should be thinking. I don't know how honest I need to be, but I'm going to tell the story as I know it, and Winston can edit out what he needs to. There was a time I was aware that Winston had had an upbringing of quite a lot of strife, also strife with his father. Fairly normal for teenagers, but the difficulties that he had with his father involved pressures that had him moving out of home at times. There came a time when his mother came to see me, asking me to come and intervene with his father, who I want to say was battling with an alcohol problem, but when I eventually got to meet with his father, his dad said to me, as I remember, and these were his words, "If I want to drink myself to death, that is my choice. Nobody else can tell me anything else." So I did my best to engage him in counseling and with respect. But I was unable to change his mind, as many other people who knew him will say the same. It was not very long after that, a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, that he passed away. And I was asked to do his funeral service, which was held at the Civic Centre in Carltonville. Now you have to remember that I'm a child of apartheid and a white man. Grew up in the 1960s and 70s, did my national service, received all the propaganda about the red peril and the black peril and everything else, and came out of that and began to realize that perhaps not everything was the way it had been presented to me. Because I've been fortunate to have a good education, which included, as early as 1974, reaching across colour barriers to meet with people of other races, I had begun to understand much earlier than most, perhaps, that people were just people. The colour of their skin is irrelevant. In any case, we came to the funeral, and me, with my background coming from, can I say, the white side, was invited to officiate at the funeral of Thomas Moeketsi. And I arrived at the Civic Centre, and I knew that Thomas had been a union man and a ANC stalwart. And I was a little shocked to see that the platform that I would be speaking from was bedecked liberally with ANC and Communist Party banners, which is not something I ever foresaw in my life that I would be preaching from. However, that those things represented who Thomas Moeketsi was, who he had been in his life, who he had campaigned for, and he was a sincere and passionate man, as I could see from the testimonies that were shared that day. I did not preach long. I preached as effectively as I could, conducted the service, conducted the funeral, and Thomas was laid to rest. The lessons that I learned from this, amongst others, were that, as my presiding bishop had once said at seminary, you cannot win over everyone, but you can treat people with respect. You can allow them to make their own mistakes. And the outcome is their responsibility. But at least they can be adults, they can be people, they can be human beings, which is the most important thing.